Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Achieving Unity Success Formula. I'm glad you're here. This is our weekly podcast. On the screen right now, we have you get your free Achieving Unity guide. Please do. There is a QR code on the bottom left. Is our free guide to help in achieving unity as we're ending anger, hate, and prejudice going forward. Love to have you look at it. Give me some feedback. Let me know how it helps you. If you go out to the www.markentricken.com, you go to my home screen, Creating Solutions, One Reality at a Time. It's about transforming our world today into what we want it to be tomorrow and how we get there through encouraging, inspiring, and including others. Again, so Achieving Unity Success Formula, our weekly podcast. We are every Wednesday. So please come back. Put this on your calendar. 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's always a pleasure and an honor to have you here with us. Reality Focused Dynamics delivers success focused solution. As you can see in the logo on the right-hand side, top right of the screen. Reality Focused Dynamics from left to right, success focused solutions from top to bottom. We want to make sure that what we're doing creates success. Please contact us today for more information. Our number one drive, of course, is using Agile and Lean inside and outside of computer software. And I'm hoping some of you are saying, what's Agile? What's Lean? It is growing and it's more of an engineering platform, but Agile is the ability to create and respond to changes and improvements. Remember, changes are short term, improvements are long term. It enables us success in uncertain and possibly struggling environments by emphasizing adaptability through better collaboration and communication. Remember, collaboration and communication are the keys that unlock our door to success. Lean is a methodology, a study of a method that's focused on maximizing value by minimizing waste. It helps us optimize our processes through continuous improvement, effectiveness, and efficiency. The philosophy can be used in every discipline and every vertical, including our homes and our family. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Connect with me and I'll show you how to break down all issues, creation of all products and services from the most complex business projects, including rocket science. And yes, I have worked for Boeing, Lockheed Martin. I have seen a rocket being built. But we can take it from rocket science to the basic steps of training our teenagers. We put it in the WID, BID, RID, GID formula. WID, write it down. BID, break it down. RID, review its dependencies. And GID, get it done. Think of busy mornings, maybe your family breakfast. Everyone has somewhere to go, from work to school, to athletics, to events, to many other places, many other locations. So why don't we think about having a family stand-up meeting each evening before that wonderful breakfast, during which everyone during the meeting shares their needs or task for the next day, where they need to be. And they can write sticky notes and place those sticky notes on their fridge with the chore and responsibilities for the next day. Then the next morning, each person can move their sticky note from the to-do, where they put it last night, to the done, where it is completed that next morning, right before breakfast. So we have a very comfortable, nice, relaxing breakfast. We can also create a breakfast station with pre-portioned ingredients and a weekly meal plan, minimizing that decision fatigue in the mornings and reducing that time spent searching for items in the morning can help everyone participate in a much smoother and more efficient process. Think about that on our day-to-day basis. That's what we help you work on. That's the solution that we help you create. Achieving unity through encouragement, inspiration, and inclusion. EII. Encouragement, inspiration, and inclusion. Encouragement can be that powerful, powerful force that fuels the core of empowerment, empowering each other, working together in unity. Encourage others to help accomplish their goals so it becomes an our goal, our solution, our success. Inspire each other to achieve every goal. This unity makes us a successful team. We can include others and then celebrate every victory, both personally and professionally. Together, everyone can overcome every challenge. Unity starts at home. It shapes society and transforms workplaces. Are you facing relationship challenges at home? Maybe parenting difficulties? Are you or someone you know struggling with relationship issues or parenting time as a divorced or divorcing parent? Again, these are issues we talk about from the home to professional. We all encounter issues. But let's transform that frustration into understanding with what the frustration? Where's the value in our actions? We can't let that frustration take over. Can't let that frustration make us angry. We must realize that anger holds no value, nowhere. Anger, Anger, is just actions not gaining effective results. Again, anger, actions not gaining effective results. Life happens from personal relationships to parenting time to prenuptial agreements. Today, nuptials are not required. A lot of people are not getting married, but they still have to make those decisions. We can learn to embrace and enjoy every moment and every challenge together. One vision, one goal, achieving unity in all areas of life. Coming up on April 3rd is our 7 Steps to Achieving Unity Success Formula. It's a 7-week course, 90 minutes per week, starts just like this one at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, every Thursday again for 7 weeks. Discover those essential principles for helping us all be able to cultivate and integrate mindful presence to enhance our innate qualities, enabling us all to live more freely and authentically, professionally and personally. There's a QR code in the bottom right. I'd like to hear from you. Sign up for the course. If you have questions, let me know. For our website, our home website, the QR code on the left. If you have contact information you'd like to talk to me, then our contact page is the URL on the right. We can work together. Let's build together, grow together. Our next podcast coming up, we're booked through August. So if you have someone you'd like to have talked to or come onto this podcast that agrees with and works with achieving unity, we have Ignite Fitness to help ourselves with Janet McConnell coming on March 19th. We have Keeping the Focus on People, the Greatest Asset, Jason Giove on March 26th. We have Storytelling, Effective Marketing Successes by Allison Verhalen, so April 2nd. Leadership, Resilience, and Team Retention, Rose Harrow, she's on April 9th. Win Anyway, international award-winning speaker also, Rich Hopkins, he'll be on April 16th. Put this on your calendar every week. All of June, we'll be talking about fathers and dads. Then all of August is going to be talking about mothers and moms. We're going to be working together so we can achieve unity personally and professionally. But today, we have a very special guest, a friend of mine we met just a short while back, but we have truly built a wonderful friendship because of where he is and what he's doing for tomorrow. Raja Vaidya is arguably the world's authority on invisible disabilities. He is an international inspirational keynote speaker, peak performance consultant, and triple talent. Triple talents is a science for the mind, karate for the body, and music for the soul. Well rounded. Over the past 6 years, he has empowered workshops on mindset, speaking, confidence, and four energies fulfillment that have helped thousands face their fears. We're going to learn more about fears in just a minute. As founder and CEO of VictoryMindsetAcademy.com, he yielded a 100% success rate in guiding clients to face their fears and overcome their self limiting beliefs. During 40 years of martial arts teaching, during 40 years of martial arts teaching, he discovered a pattern in students that are moving from the white belt mindset to black belt mind shift that he translates into business and relationships. We have a wonderful speaker today. He was going to show us so many things about how we can improve our lives, make our lives better, and do all the things that we need to do. I have a screen going on here.
Certainly.
Stop my sharing. This is the part. This is what I'm going to get Renee. We were talking about earlier. This is what Renee's going to help me with starting next week. Because
Sure.
for me, it's always a challenge getting the
No
screen
worries.
set up correctly, building on it. We built it up here, and there we are. Raja, how are
There we
you?
go.
And welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me to the Wicca Unity podcast. And I got to say, it's a joy to work with you again. You were a great guest on my show, the Unbox Me Today show, not long ago. And I'm just here to inspire, to entertain, and to educate. And hope we can have a lot of fun along the way.
That sounds so awesome. I'm looking forward to it
Hmm.
because we have so much to talk about today. And I'm so ready to hear, as we talked a few minutes ago, what this first question is going to bring out.
Sure, let's
And
shoot.
all right, what inspired you? Roger, I've talked to you several times, and I'm inspired when I talk to you. But what inspired you to become a speaker and a coach despite your lifelong struggle? And I'll let you tell us about that.
Well, I want to clarify. It's my lifelong struggle is that I have uh, is that I have a stutter, and I deal with it still today, every single day. So every day, every hour, every minute, every minute of my life, I have to deal with this constant struggle. So over the years, I've actually tried to find ways to hide from it. I used to hide within karate, used to hide within singing. I used to hide within cancer research and just work in the lab and let someone else be the presenter. Problem is, over time, what I discovered was that people were using my work, and uh, even though I'd be given credit for the present for giving the data, the last 10 years, I had five different managers present my work, and they would get the promotion for doing the work, even though they would say, yes, well, Roger did a lot of work. And then the last one left my name off the slide deck, which was
Oh,
which was the last insult that I would allow. And that is when my life changed. So in 2017, I started to face my fear and said, all right, what can I do now? Because as much as I complained to my boss and then his boss, they all basically said, well, it's not polite, it's not good, but water on the bridge, and you should be positive going forward. I'm like, no, this is not right. So I said, what can I do differently now to show what I can do, show what I'm capable? And that's when I decided, you know what? The thing holding me back is my shame of speaking. And I started with Toastmasters and reading books and masterminding and hiring coaches and gurus and seminars, and everything changed for me. All of a sudden, I realized so much more was under my control than I had realized. Because previously, I was getting crushed. It was soul crushing experience, and I was wondering how can I get out of this, and how can I make a new life? So I decided to take that anger and transform it. So my parents taught me well. They said, all right, you always learn to forgive. So I decided to forgive, but not forget, and transform that energy into fuel for the next person that I was about to become. As a result of that,
that is excellent.
I decided to uplift myself in a positive way. And because of that, I joined the Toastmasters group at my company too, which I didn't even know they had. And then I started this speaker confidence workshop series. At first, it was just to try to get introductions into the Toastmasters group, but all of a sudden, it just took a life of its own. The first year, I wanted to get 20 people signed up for it, but 40 showed up in person. And then the
Wow.
next year we had
Congratulations.
COVID, and the next year we had COVID, decided to move it virtual. And what happened was we had 80 people on the Zoom. We had twice as many as the previous year. And then the next
Congratulations.
year, I was thinking, okay, good. Hopefully we get the same amount. We get another 80, 90 people. That'd be nice. We had 150. So we broke the Zoom and we had to find somebody else's Zoom account to use. And then since then, I have anywhere from like 150 to 250 that I'm coaching in a 2-hour workshop and teaching them about speaking authority. Me, the speaker that can't talk right. But here's the flip side of that. I learned along the way that your greatest challenge is your greatest gift. Think about that. Your greatest challenge is your greatest gift. Because a lot of us think that challenge is a wall. When what happens is through personal development and coaching and learning, you become larger than that wall. So that wall becomes a speed bump now. And now you just walk over, around, or through it. And when you do that, you become the person that you were meant to be. I love how, if you're a fan of Steve Martin,
Yes.
great guy,
Yes, he
great
is
guy,
hilarious.
great,
Comedian.
great comedian, great actor, and just truly just a really nice guy all around. He had a quote I had heard years ago that still sticks with me. He had said, in the beginning when he was trying to audition for parts, he would think that he would be better talented or gave a better audition or read than some other people he saw watching the same time. And he would get snubbed for stuff because he just wasn't big enough yet. He wasn't he didn't have the clout yet to catch the kind of roles that he wanted. And so he just kept working and working and working. And he kept saying, at some point, be so good they can't ignore you. And I love that. And that's what I try to do, honestly, is that I just keep making new goals. Because you can tell the people that are growing, the people that are done growing, they're trying to reach for a finish line. And the people that are, driving way faster past them they're the people that are creating starting lines. Because they're continually growing, continually adding new starting points. Doesn't matter where the finish line is, you'll get there eventually because you keep working on it. And so as a result of this, if you told me 5 years ago, Roger, you're gonna have like honestly, Mark, all these things, since 2017, so all these things happened in the past 6-7 years. So once I made that choice, you know what happened? I got into the Black Belt Hall of Fame. Then I got into multiple. I was in Who's Who in martial arts
Wow.
magazine in 2018, and then we did a movie. So now I'm starring in 2 movies. Then we made a comic book based off of that. Oh, and by the way, at that time I started a book. So my first 2 books became bestsellers, and last year my 3rd book came out. That became an international bestseller. And that's on the shelves of like Walmart and Target, and it became a Barnes and Noble bestseller. So
Wow.
this growth it's almost surprising. But now I understand when people say, "Wow, Roger, you're an overnight success." Sure, it took me 6 years to become an overnight success,
Exactly.
right? and I laugh because like at some point you have to start realizing there's a great book out there called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. There were 2 Navy SEALs that did 2 tours in Afghanistan. Then they brought their like Navy SEAL uh, leadership into the corporate world. And one would think like, what does that even have anything to do with a corporate, manager? It comes down to one thing, is that if you believe that things are out of your control, they will be. If you believe that,
Exactly.
and if you believe that you have extreme ownership and everything is on you, you now have control over 99% of your life. I won't say 100% because there's always that optional one thing out there that's outliers. Who cares?
Mhm.
But if all of a sudden, if you can flip the script on your mind and say, you know what, you now have, I used to think because of my uh, because of my because of my stuttering that there were out of 10,000 things there were 9,990 that I could not do. And I realize now it's like, wait a second, if I take extreme ownership, you know, I could have given those presentations, I could have pushed more and asked more, I could have done more to say, you know what, no, this is my work, I want to be seen. And as soon as I started saying that, people started to treat you differently. They say, uh-oh, yeah, Roger's got a voice. And I've only recently found my voice in the past couple of years. And as a result,
Exciting.
I joke around now, like I think that God gave me this speech handicap because he also made me so handsome. So it's a good balance.
I like that. It's a balance.
Right?
And that fits right in there because you always look so sharp and so professional. But can I
I do
take
what I
you
can.
back? I think I take you back a step though, because
Yeah.
one of the things that I think I heard you say, and please,
Yeah.
if I didn't hear this correctly, that you didn't speak right. And I thought I heard those words. And now I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of times I speak too fast. I have to
Mm-hmm.
work on my speaking because people don't understand me because I'm rattling it so fast. And some of you may have already caught on. I have a little bit of a southern drawl. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to be very careful. And what I know is that speaking is not about just how we say it, but it's what we say that the audience understands. The
Mm-hmm.
reason we speak is for understanding. So the only thing right or wrong about it is that
Mm-hmm.
it's heard and it's
Right.
understood, and I understand you 100%. Not a right or wrong,
Yeah.
because the understanding of what you say, the message that you bring us is, for me, understood 100%. So I don't see a right or wrong to the speech as
Mm-hmm.
long as the understanding is there for us to
Fantastic. And I know
cherish.
you're more evolved, so that's great. Wish I had more audience like that, right?
That's
But
it.
that's it.
But
But you
they,
put yourself out there, then people start to understand. And
they do.
that's really all I'm doing is just now I can put myself out there.
Well, I think it goes back to what you said earlier too
Yeah.
about, well, I think it was Steve Martin, that do what's best. Make yourself unforgettable. And you have so many great things to talk about. As you say, it is a challenge because I
Mm-hmm.
know I want to talk slower and be understood better because
Mm-hmm.
I've been up in front of audiences before and I become very comfortable with the audience or some of the people in the audience, and I start talking faster and I start slurring my words.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that. And the more, even on a telephone, the more I talk to someone that I know, I
Yeah.
do that same thing. And it's only that they may or may not understand me as well as I'd like for them to. And that's where I've got to focus my energy because why am
Mm-hmm.
I talking? And if it's not for them to understand me, maybe I shouldn't talk so much, right?
That's okay. There, if you've ever read Personality Plus by Florence Hightower, she's a like Harvard-based a psychologist, and she talks about the four different personality types. And the ones I like to talk a lot, those are your sanguines. So the sanguines, as you know, like to talk. And guess what? Guess what? How we have to communicate more with the world is speak half as much, listen twice as much,
Mhm.
and that's all it is. And so for me, my speech patterns, I tend to speed up because I feel like internally I'm on this sort of fluency fence, and I want to get the sentence out before I fall off. All right. So um, what I'm doing is I'm when you hear me speaking, there's a whole lot happening underneath. So you ever see a duck, how smooth it glides over the lake?
Mhm. Right.
And when you get a camera and you look underneath, it's going, there's all this movement going on underneath. That's what's happening to me. So I have to have two trains of
Mm.
consciousness just to be able to speak more fluently because I'm thinking, all right, here I come to that uh, un, unvoiced consonant explosive sound. Here I come to that elided M that I can try to glide through. Here comes an open ah. That's a little bit easier. Here comes a closed E. You see how tight your lips are? So I'm thinking those things as I'm speaking. I still have troubles with my L's, M's, my W's, sometimes my R's, so I can't say my name, and combination consonants like STs. I still have a problem with statistic, you know, and whoever thought, uh, let's call the syndrome where people have a hard time saying consonants. Let's call it stuttering. That's that had three hard consonants in it. Thanks a lot. But that's okay. 5 out of 4 people have a problem with math, right? So,
There you go. 5 out of 4.
and so we just laugh it off. It's okay.
Right.
Um, but I honestly, I think the thing that changed my life the most was that I learned to face that fear, and I learned to redefine it. So for anybody else watching out there, when I talk about invisible disabilities, I'm talking about everyone out there who feels like they may be neurodiverse, maybe they have a physical challenge, maybe they have fibromyalgia, maybe they're in a wheelchair, maybe they're speech, hearing, or sight challenged. And I want y'all to think that fear of being accepted or fear of being, I used to be ashamed of my stuttering until recently. When I left my previous company, then I joined my most recent one. For the first time in my life, I put down the check mark. Yes, I have a handicap. And it was so freeing to finally say, you know what? I'm not going to let anybody make me feel small. I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt that said, no one can make you feel disrespected without your permission. Right?
Love that one. Yes.
I know, it's beautiful. And so
And
people
can
don't
we
need to
just
be
touch on
told
that
that
again?
one.
Can you say it one more time though? Because it's one that I think about
Yes.
and I talk to people about this. But
Hmm.
again, what could you say it one more time, please?
Certainly. And I hope I'm quoting it right. It's
Close enough.
yeah,
Right. Yes.
nobody can make you
Can
feel
make
disrespected without your permission.
no one can without
Yep.
your permission. Right. And that is so important that we have to remember
Oh,
that
you know what?
we are the ones that are choosing that
Yeah.
disrespect. Right.
I just Googled it real fast just to make sure I'm saying it right. I was close. I was
It
very close. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. That's the right quote.
it's yeah, and that's what she was credited with, but
I
it
know.
is, and
It's
and the bottom
beautiful.
line is without your consent, everything in our life is that way. It's
Hmm.
our consent. I could just go ahead and speak fast and nobody would understand me, and I could complain, I could whine, I could find something wrong. Or again, I'm with Toastmasters with you. I am a distinguished Toastmaster DTM.
Perfect.
It was
Yeah.
that helped me slow down and helped
Hmm.
me speak better and learn about my challenges that I didn't know. And that
Yeah.
little bit right there, it's up to me. It was me that had to do something. And I think what you've done and what you said last 8 years, 2017, 2025,
7 years. Yeah.
it
Wow.
is what you have done, what you have accomplished. Right, Raja?
Right. And it's an uphill battle because I finally said, you know what? I'm not going to allow them to put me down. Let's go back to Dirty Dancing. No one puts baby in a corner,
That's
right?
right. Nobody puts baby in that corner. It's right.
Nobody puts me in a corner either. So I decided to stand my ground. I drew my line in the sand and said, all right, enough. Something has to change, and I'm going to make it change. And I
Hmm.
didn't know how. And I think this is the hardest thing for anybody who feels stuck in their life or their corporate job, or they're stuck in their marriage, or they're stuck in their career, or stuck in a friendship or a culture or a partnership that they're not sure is going. You know, you have to sometimes just draw a line in the sand and start to make forward movement. And one of the things I started doing is I said, you know what? I don't care if I stutter, but you're going to listen to me anyway. And so when I get up on stage, I just gave a big keynote with Pfizer World headquarters a couple of months ago, and man, it was great. I they heard my TEDx talk, how to speak when you can't talk, and I gave a practice talk of that at a Toastmasters meeting, and just for practice, just because I wanted to make sure I really had it down. Um, 2 days later, I got a cold email from someone I don't even know who was sitting on the Zoom of the meeting. So it wasn't even in the building, was on the Zoom, and calls me out and said, Raja, we loved your TED Talk. You have to give that to our uh, DEI discovery meeting, our summit. And I said, all right, well, who's going to be there? Well, there's going to be over 200 ex executives from different corporations, companies, pharmaceuticals, and other companies. I mean, there were people from Amazon there, Walmart there, Humana, and you know, and a few other like major corporations and companies. Wow, it was incredible. And I said,
That is
wow, so you
amazing.
want me to speak for how long? And they said, 45 minutes. I'm like, okay. I was like,
Beautiful.
I was, I was, I don't mind my language. I was, I was about to, I was about to crap my pants thinking, oh my God, can I do this? But I said, all right. When, as my friend Kimberly says, when someone hands you the mic, you take it. Right. So I said, all right, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I don't know how I'm going to do it. You're going to build the plane as you fly it. And I redefined my fear as face everything and rise. Face everything and
I
rise.
love that because I was going to ask you about that next. Please
Yeah.
say that again.
Mm-hmm.
Fear. FEAR.
Mm-hmm. Stands for face everything and rise.
Face everything. Stand up. Don't let them
Mm-hmm.
put you in that corner, like you said. Face everything and rise. Grow forward, right?
Yeah. Right. And if you ever think about any successful person, guess what? Everybody says that you know, Jeffrey Bezos, wow, he's so rich. He makes so much money because he's the owner of Amazon. The first couple of years of Amazon, he thought he was going to fail. He named the he named the company uh, Cadabra, and everybody thought that it meant cadaver, and people didn't get it. Then he
Mhm.
changed. Then the next year he changed the company to the word relentless, and it still wasn't drawing eyes. People, just like the marketing, just wasn't working. Finally, when he said, we're the largest bookstore online in the world, that's when Borders Books came at him, and the CEO of Borders said, nope, you can't do that. We're going to sue you, you know. So they had to figure out what means big without saying it, and that's where Amazon came out. And so in the original, like, he just took a piece of paper, bunch of papers, and wrote Amazon on the wall with a Sharpie, and that was his business. And
That's,
and I remember even in even even at Facebook headquarters, uh, 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 he wrote up there, done is better than perfect. So once you start to realize these things, like, you go out there, you give it your best shot, and you're imperfectly you, it's so much better than you not doing it at all. It's sort of like it's much better to have loved and lost rather than to not have
I
loved at
love,
all, right? It's the
it's
same
so
thing with
true.
any business, and every single leader out there has failed so many times before they succeeded. But the difference is, whereas the average person who is not trained in mindset and NLP and business skills, they think the failure is the end. Whereas the people that succeed, the failure is the stepping stone, and they stack those failures and they keep going up. And as they do that, it becomes a staircase to success.
And then that's how they get to the stop,
Mm-hmm.
to the top,
Yep.
one step at a time. That's how they get to the top, one step. As you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
one step on that staircase at a time. So continue taking them forward and not be afraid of making a mistake.
All right. And
That's
and you know
beautiful.
what's funny? Funny, Mark? People have that fear of mistakes, fear of being judged. Fear when when I teach my speaker confidence workshops, I talk about a lot of the speaking jitters and speaking is one of the worst fears in the world. People they put it above death and taxes, and of course flying on a plane or swimming.
Right.
So the worst thing in the world would be like if you're on a transatlantic flight over the water, and you're sitting next to a dentist on one side and a tax accountant on your left, and so uh, would you still be afraid of speaking then? Uh, it's one of those fears where I've kind of boiled it down in my program, my system. This is just my 2 cents here. I think there are two things that keep people from speaking with confidence and authority. One is lack of preparation. Because if you're unprepared, of course, you're not going to feel confident, right? So if you have a chance, prepare, practice, get prepared. Same thing in karate. When you go to a tournament, if you haven't practiced your form, if you haven't practiced your side kicks, if you haven't done your push-ups, you haven't been coming to class and doing your cardio, you haven't been doing a kickboxing rounds. When you go out to the tournament, you're going to feel unprepared because you actually didn't do the work, and your body knows it and your mind knows it, right? And
That
that's
practice promotes the performance.
absolutely, it gives you that confidence. I know I put in the time. When I was younger, when I was 16 years old, I made it to World Championships, and as soon as I did that, I made a 2-year plan to go to the Olympics. I trained 6 days a
Wow.
week, 4 or 5 hours a day. So from age 16 to 18, that's what I did. And then 3 months after my 18th birthday, I went to a national qualifier on the East Coast, and I took home two firsts and a second, and I won the entire grand
Wow.
championship for the entire tournament, beating out 400 other black belts. So I had made the Olympic team.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
And my
wow.
fear was not in karate. My fear was I got an offer to go out to Colorado Springs and train as an alternate for the U.S. team, and and then I would have competed in the like a '94 Winter Games in Taekwondo, and instead I had gotten a scholarship to college, and my
Oh.
parents telling me about Raja, what's this karate nonsense? You don't need to do that. Secretly, I was relieved because I thought, you know what? I don't want people to talk bad about me because of the way I talk. So I didn't go. That was the real reason I didn't go. It wasn't fear of competing. I loved
Mhm.
competing. It was fear of being judged. And that is the second part of why people, when they speak, think that it is so hard, is that fear of being judged, fear of trying to be perfect, trying to promote that buy-in for the entire audience. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to get out there
You
and
know,
do it.
just cherish what you're telling me right now, Roger. That is so important. And if you don't mind, can I
Yeah.
toss in a little bit of a joke here on
Please do
on this
that.
whole
Do that.
judging?
Yep.
Did you know that most judges, well, let me start it off better. You heard all the lawyer jokes, right? I mean, there's lawyer jokes all over the internet. It seems like
Of course.
everybody
My
knows a
sister's a lawyer
couple.
too, so I know. Yep.
Exactly, all the lawyer jokes. Well, did you know that almost all judges are lawyers? That's how a judge gets to be a judge. 5 or more years of adversarial experience. Well, adversarial, what is that? Well, adversarial, right, wrong, good, bad, likes you, doesn't like you, likes what you're wearing, doesn't like what you're wearing, likes your attitude, doesn't like your attitude. That's adversarial. And that's what they have in that legal, in the law firm. It's an adversarial experience to become a judge. And then they are the ones that are judging so many others based on what they learned as a lawyer. And then we need to go back and read those lawyer jokes one more time. We can't let judging bother us because, as you're mentioning with your fear, again, free everything and rise, FEAR. And I call it FEAR, false evidence about reality. And I work a lot with reality focused as that false evidence about reality. Anybody that's judging you First, most of them only have an opinion. They have a rumor. So their judgment of you or me or anyone else, in spite of how we talk, how I talk, how you talk, it's a judge based on a rumor, a learning, possibly even their own small society. There's another word I'm searching for here. I'm sorry, I can't think of it, but
Makes me
um,
think it's scarcity mindset.
yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy, but
Hmm.
just that whole social concept of what's right or what's wrong, and it's hurting a lot of us.
Yeah. Like right now, um, after the
And I
advent of
don't mean
social
just in our
media.
speaking. I'm sorry, sorry to interrupt you, but when I say it's hurting a lot of us, I mean everyone. I mean 100% of the
Oh yeah,
people.
I agree.
That childish, immature, insecure, selfish judgment
Hmm.
is hurting all of us. So I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I found out that ever since the advent of social media, a lot of the studies have shown that because people start to believe what's happening on social media, the pictures, the images, the posts, there starts to become social media envy. There are people right now, even on what started out on Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram, and uh, and people look at those pictures of, oh, the perfect Thanksgiving and the perfect Christmas tree and the perfect family photo, and they start to believe, oh, that's not fair. They have the perfect life and I don't. And
Right.
the amount of depression and the amount of anxiety has increased exponentially. I was about to say e- excrementally, and I'm like, that's about the same. And so,
Mhm.
and so, uh, a couple of years ago, some of the school districts in Seattle had actually uh, had lawsuits against three of the largest social media platforms, and with the reasoning that the algorithms are trained to make these children subservient and keep them bringing back, and it actually trains the way your brain thinks, and that is harsh to any developing child. So I tell my children, no social media, no electronics at the table. That's the same thing what Bill Gates and Steve Jobs did.
Yep.
You realize that family time is sacred. Every day when I come home, at 5 o'clock, I ask for a 5 by 5. And what that means is that at 5 p.m., I need a 5-second hug. I don't care where you are. You're doing homework,
Uh-huh.
you're watching TV, you're washing the dishes, you're out mowing the lawn. But if you're mowing the lawn, wait till you're done. But I expect my 5 by 5. And I need a 5-second hug because the studies have shown that, you give them a hug, and usually my hugs are longer than 5 seconds, and then they talk to you. Because now I say, listen, you are the highlight of my day, so that's why you're my 5 by 5. And all of a sudden now, kids realize, oh, daddy, daddy thinks we're important. And
Daddy does
what
care.
a great anchor to have throughout your day. So every single day of your life, somebody's out there thinking about you. It's sort of like when I was a child, I used to watch the Richie Rich cartoons, and Jeeves, I think the butler, would always come at 4 p.m. It's tea time, and no matter where like Richie Rich was around the world in his adventures, it's tea time, Master Richie, and he'd find him, right? Which
Mhm.
meant Richie Rich had a lifeline. He had an anchor to always save him from his crazy adventures. And so, if we create those anchors and that safety net for our children, you know, that's something that where I think, they're not going to feel judged. They're going to feel loved. And we need to have more of that in society. Don't you
We
feel?
do. And I like the way you teach that, what you're talking about, Roger, because it's so important. And with all the coaching and helping others that you do, what do you do or how do you help people overcome some of these self-limiting beliefs?
That's a great question that will take weeks and days and years.
I
But
bet.
in this short
We only have
time,
15, so
I know, in this short time, I would love to share a few highlights with you.
thank
Um,
you.
Number one, what if? That question of
What
what
if?
if starts out the conversation and starts to reset your mind to possibilities. What if you didn't want that cigarette? How would that feel? What would your life be like if you didn't want that cigarette? What if you didn't eat ice cream at night? How would your life change? Would you sleep better? Would you lose weight? Would you be just as happy? Because a lot of eating at nighttime is emotional eating. What if what if you uh, showed your husband, your wife, your partner uh, something to appreciate them just because it's Wednesday, and you did that once a quarter, all of a sudden, it's not the price of like $5 flowers, but it's more the thought of, oh, somebody was thinking of me and it's not a special day. Oh, all of a sudden, that compassion, the endorphin starts pumping. You start getting pheromones. You start to build that love language of people around you. And if it's not flowers, it can be something else. I joke around like on Facebook. I said, all right, for a Valentine's Day, I did the most romantic thing for my wife. I did the dishes. And you know, and guess what? When she comes home from work and I already did the dishes because the kids have been eating stuff and making a mess. If I clean up the kitchen and she comes home and she's like, oh, I don't have to do all that. Oh, that guy loves me, right? So the idea of
And it
going
works
life
both ways. It works always, right? It's just those little
always.
things that we do for others, right?
Hmm. Like for example, my daughter, I love her. She's 12 years old, and she's about to become a teenager this year and turn 13. And one of the little things I do to show her I love her is that she has this little battery bank that I bought both my children, so they have it in the backpack. They won't ever have their phones die. They'll always have a little backup. Um, but she uses it almost every day anyway. So a lot of times she would forget to charge it. Like yesterday at night, I saw that it was at 8% full. So I plugged it in for her, and I didn't tell her, I didn't, scold her. I just said, hey, honey, just so you know, I plugged in your battery bank. And she's thinking, oh, thanks. Was it low? I said, yeah, it was a little low. you know, so now what she's going to realize is that daddy's looking out for her, even when she's not expecting it. All right. So those little things that we can do for each other are really, that's the good stuff. Those small things. It's not about, it is about once in a while. You can have those grand gestures and 100 roses and buy out the restaurant, and we have balloons and doves and concert band playing for you on Valentine's Day. Or it can be a simple thing as like I did the dishes for her, and so she was happy and it put her in a good mood when she got home. And the you you've heard of the book, the love languages, right? So
I have, yes, I've got that on Audible.
yeah, and like I love that book. Great, because people don't realize there's at least five different love languages. I'm not going to go through it now,
Or no, we don't have time
but
now, but yeah.
but but definitely go check that out and think about what it is that you can change in your life for the better. So go
And that's one of those things. I'm sorry to interrupt you because you're on a great point.
ahead.
We have about 12 minutes left, but it's not just about change. It's about improving our life, isn't it?
Hmm.
It's not just
It is
change,
right,
but doesn't it actually improve?
right. So Generation Z, by the way, it's funny. They start saying to each other, "What's up, Sigma?" And then I don't even know. It's just kind of like they say like, what's up, buddy, or what's going on, or so these kids, these children are saying this term, and for me, I'm thinking sigma is like the sum of all things. That's what we learn in calculus. Sigma is this, sum of all
Hmm.
sum of a series of data points, right? Now, say that say that uh you were able to go to somebody and said, you know what, you're my infinity. You're the sum of all things for me.
Wow.
How would that make you feel? When someone asks you like, how much do you love me? Because sometimes my wife says like, how much do you love me? And I said, more than all the stars in the sky.
Mhm.
So it's, you give her that response. And for for all the men watching and all the ladies watching, guess what? It works both ways. Don't think that
Thank
men are
you.
cavemen. Men need love too. So let's be evolved and let's understand that everybody needs affection, love, understanding, and respect. It goes both ways. And I tell my wife all the time, it's like, man, I didn't get a hug today. I need a hug. And that doesn't make me weak. It doesn't make me vulnerable. It doesn't make me a
Mhm.
wimp. Not at all. It makes me a real man. It makes me a real father. It makes me someone that
A person.
exactly makes me a person. And people respond to that when you start saying, you know what? Listen, I made mistakes in the past too. I used to try to be so perfect because I wanted to hide my shame and hide my problems. And I tried to be perfect in everything, perfect in grades, perfect in at work, perfect at school. And, eventually that was also another cover for the embarrassment and the shame that I was trying to hide. Instead, it took me a long time to realize, you know what? I need to learn to break down those walls a little bit and let someone in. And you're allowed to be imperfect with that other imperfect person because no one's perfect out there. We're all imperfect people and we're all puzzle
That's right.
pieces. We need to find out how to fit together.
And that's like we talked at the beginning of the call. There's no speaking wrong. It's about understanding.
Mm-hmm.
However we speak, if we have a speech impediment, if we talk too fast, it's all about communication and the
Mm-hmm.
end result of what we have to say, no matter how we end up saying it, right?
Right.
It,
Mm-hmm.
it's a it's about us coming together. It's about us achieving that unity that we are all one. And that's where we have to focus in what we
Mm-hmm.
do. And that's when I was asking you a few minutes ago about what you do to bring people together, because there's so
Right.
many out there. The word culture is one I couldn't think of earlier, because it's our
Yeah.
learning and our culture that we pick up when we're young, and we don't think it's wrong because we learned it from possibly our parents, our family, external family,
Mm-hmm.
school, and some of the things that we do and some of our negativities come from our culture because of someone we've heard, could come from TV, could come from the social media, but we turn it into our culture. That's the first thing, again, that we have to improve. So the things that you're talking about, learning about face everything and rise,
Mm-hmm.
it is about us coming together and
Mm-hmm.
being able to work together as we grow forward. And I like about that with what you're doing and how you're doing it. We're about 8 minutes left. Do
Okay.
you have a closure? Do you have any things? If you had 5 minutes to give me the best information, the best encouragement, because that's what I work on: encouragement, inspiration, and inclusion. If you could
Here.
encourage me, what would you? Because I can tell you right now, you talk about making mistakes. There was a time I had talked to a person who had a speech impediment, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even think about it. And I was nervous.
Yeah. Well,
What
here's what
can you help
here's
me with? Help us with?
here's what I would think is that our lives have been programmed. We've been programmed, like you were just saying recently, by your culture, by your parents, by your upbringing, by your co-workers, by social media, by television, by what you read on the phone, and by what comes into you uh, in games. And so, I'm a gamer. I love to play video games too, but I know its place, and I know not to let it take over my life. Um, but think about it this way: let's go back to the power of the word because I've taken a lot of NLP training. I'm a certified
Neuro
NLP
linguistic programming?
practitioner. Yep, neurolinguistic programming. And here's what I here's what I work with in a way that people don't realize. Okay, words become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your beliefs. Beliefs turn into actions, and actions become your achievements. Think about that. Words become thoughts, thoughts become beliefs, beliefs become actions, actions become achievements. Excuse me. Got this dry spot in my throat. So,
I know when we talk this long, and that's the thing, these go so fast. And We're already
Oh,
54 minutes into the
it's not
podcast. It
even
just
that.
seems
I
like
went
it
to the
started.
gym just before this and then
Oh,
took a
did
quick
you?
shower.
Okay.
And I was working out, man. I feel
Wow.
awesome today. And you know, uh, that it's this simple thought that if you feel stuck in life, you're in the wrong community. You have to move. A lot of us get stuck in, we don't want to change. We don't want to change. Well, change is scary for anybody, but even positive change is scary because it's something that your body protects you against. So when we start to think psychologically, we go from the cortex, or we go from the neocortex to the cortex, and then we start to go to into your subconscious, your amygdala, like that's where all of your thoughts and long-term habits can be changed. So if you're staying very high level in the cortex and neocortex, you're not going to be able to change your habits. You have to get deeper into your subconscious level, and we call that during theta waves. So that's the same waves that are coming out. There are like delta and theta waves when you dream. You have REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement. You can go from alpha to delta to theta using binaural beats. And what that does is that helps your body relax and get into that state where you can start to change your life. See, if you're stuck in a box, um, my next book is called Unbox Me Today. It's a title, but it's also a call to action. A lot of us have been programmed, we're stuck in this box of fear. And whether it's a box of wood or cardboard or steel or titanium, guess what? You're stuck in that box of your own making, but you can break out of it. And here's the scary part: when you break out of that comfortable box of fear that you built for yourself, the other side is something uncomfortable. And in that uncomfortable zone, you have to work through, you have to get used to being, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because on the other side of that uncomfortable zone, that's where your greatest successes lies. That is where you're going to change your life. And by change, I mean augment your life. You're going to improve your life. You're going to increase your life. You're going to expand your life. You're going to launch your life. Change is just a word. But what happens at the other side of that change? You have power to go through that. And that's the thing that I would tell to everybody is that I thought I didn't have a voice up until recently. I now tell people I have a voice. And when I get up on stage, I want
Strong.
to do, I know. And when I get up on stage, this is the surprising thing. I tell people, this is the moment, this is the day when I send all my doubts and demons on their way. And all of a sudden they
Beautiful.
hear this operatic voice and they're wondering, whoa, I thought this guy had a speech problem. I said, yeah, not when I sing though. Right. And that's another balance. Again, my greatest challenge is my greatest gift.
I
And
love it.
because I wanted to find a way to hide it, I learned to sing. I took years of classical opera and
That
training,
is
and that
excellent.
helps build that voice. Now I can use that voice to help spread the message and help others. And I tell everybody always, believe it and become it.
I love it. Roger, thank you so much. You'll have about a minute and 15 seconds left. That
Mm.
word that you have brought to us and that voice that you share with us. And again, that process of there's nothing anyone can do to us that hurts us without our consent. And
Mhm.
that is something that we need to take every day in everything we do. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your words with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
It's just awesome because that's one of the things that I do and I think you do. But it's about I build bridges. I build
Yeah.
real bridges, bridges between people, building unity. I show how that achieving unity success formula,
Hmm.
those 7 simple steps, will transform any relationship, from relationships in the bedroom to also relationships in the boardroom. Think
Hmm.
better communication, better collaboration, with stronger teams, less frustration, clear understanding. If we're ready to believe and take division and negativity out and start building connections that truly matter, We need to get together. So we have your information, Raja. Hope the people will call you and contact you. Hope
Yes.
they'll call
Please
and
connect,
contact
watch my
me.
TED talk. It's important. And
We
spread the
can,
word.
thank you, Raja. We can truly make this a better place. One day, one step at a time. Thank you again. I appreciate it, Raja. Everybody, please contact
My
him.
pleasure.
Hope to see you again all next week.
See you soon.
Here we go. Achieving
Bye.
Unity, creating solutions, one reality at a time. Talk to you next week. Thank you all. Thank you, Raja.